in the state of Alabama. What could partnering them with 3 and 4 and 5 time convicted felons as they work to learn more, not only about this plant, but about all of the things that could be made from this plant. Not only does this, with our project, directly address these perceptions, but then you also bring in more education when it starts talking about bioremediation. So with this plant, we would not only be educating a group of people who have been, in a lot of cases, pushed to the side and forgotten. We're bringing them back into society with open arms. We're connecting them with the farmers that need their help. And all of these together would lead to a great, great, great shift in the perceptions not only of policymakers, but of cannabis industry professionals. Thank you so much for your time, and we are ready for questions.
Any questions?
So, go ahead. I was wondering about you talk about the model.
Mm-hmm.
What is this model about?
I was really interested, like, why are so many people going out of business? I mean, really, are 90% of farmers, having hot hemp, so where the hemp becomes above 0.3% THC, and having to have it destroyed? Is that the big problem? And if that's the problem, how can we better control those situations? But that's not the only reason that they're going out of business. That is one, so that put farmers out of business. So a good model to help with alleviate that, or to grow in high tunnel hoop houses where you can control your environment a lot better, so you can control those things. So, but there's a whole lot of other factors, and one of the big ones that I have come across is that farmers entering this business thought that they were going to be cultivators. They're going to put a plant in the ground, they're going to grow it, they're going to harvest it, they're going to sell it, and they're done. That's not the case with hemp farming. These farmers have to take this crop from seed to consumer. So the farmers' decisions, their networks, how they engage in that community where they can take the crop from seed to consumer, actually has a huge impact on what type of products are available to consumers. So, and how those products are distributed to consumers. So in the popular and health and folk health professions. So in building this model, I'm looking at all the various factors, growing factors, but then also what happens, how they're interacting with their politicians, all the various hats and roles that these farmers are wearing, so, and how they're engaging in their community, which is a huge, huge part of whether or not they're successful or not.
I didn't hear much about regulation. It looks like regulation would be one of the primary causes why some of the...
Oh, it's regulation.
So, Lakaya mentioned that in the beginning when she talked about the background on the policies and that contribute, right? So the 2014 Farm Bill and the 2018 Farm Bill, which legalized hemp for everyone to have access to. But part of the issues, which I guess is kind of what you're asking, is that policymakers only knew so much about the cannabis industry, right? But when it comes down to the textiles that we could make from industrial hemp, biofuels, those elements are missing when it comes down to the entire supply chain.
I'm also talking about the farmers in terms of which you, the point that you talk, the levels of the level of THC in the plant. Do they know about those things, and how? And it's interesting. How do they lower it? How can you lower it?
Oh, so that's multiple. So that's part of what the investigations and what some of the research since 2018 is looking for, right? Because we know that climate change is on the rise, and if climate is changing, it's probably going to be hotter. If your plant is hotter and it's under more stress, it's more likely to produce more of the THC that you need to have a lower level of.
So right now, there's actually conversations across the nation and advocating that that limit be raised. It's not that the farmers are not advocating that they meet the 0.3 limit, but the community is advocating that the limit be raised somewhere between 1% and 3%.
And so our project would be, which is essentially a restorative justice project, right? We're targeting policymakers, we're targeting youth under the age of 35, and we're targeting cannabis industry innovators. And we're doing that because for policy to move, you need an educated constituency to know what to fight for, right? But if your educated constituency is all locked up in jail, right, or is so far removed from the conversation that they don't have access to the information or know the avenues that they need to traverse for change, you kind of get deadlocked in this same cycle of politicians not knowing what to do, farmers having to navigate with the rules placed before them, and then Black and brown people getting incarcerated because we're not even in the middle of those two conversations.
Does the training that you all are proposing incorporate understanding the current market access for hemp in terms of where it could potentially serve as substitutes for certain textiles? And what would be some of those areas that you would like, okay, if we're training a farmer on hemp, hey, here would be, if we're looking at the textile industry, for example, what types of products would you tell them or would you present to them that are those market opportunities?
Well, and actually the big purpose of collaborating with the cannabis industry innovators. So we do understand that these industries are not fully developed. So as the program is educating on the vast opportunity and applications of cannabis and giving those participants firsthand applications to workforce development, the collaboration with active cannabis innovators allows us to access the market opportunities that are hanging lowest, because we have to have industry involved in order for the farmers to succeed. It's a collective practice.
One of the things that they're working on, the building materials.
Yeah.
Is it hempcrete, hemp that can be used as insulation, all of it. There's a lot of talk and movement in that direction, but then also these others are all being explored.
We're getting
Thank
this
you,
from the top.
judges, for your question. That is time. We're on a very tight timeline, and we have 2 more groups to